The shocking truth about your potential in 2025, must hear this epic message now. The air was charged with a frantic energy as whispers shot through the crowd. People's eyes were wide with disbelief. How could it be possible? All eyes glued to the flickering screen at the downtown plaza. A voice, trembling yet bold, declared, "This isn't just a prophecy, it's a warning." The crowd surged forward, heartbeats thumping like drums. Rumors swirled like autumn leaves in a storm, a hidden truth about the very fabric of what is to come in just 2 years. In the center of that chaos stood Mira, a young woman with wild curls and a hunger for the extraordinary. She felt a chill creep down her spine, an unsettling mix of excitement and dread. Everything she knew about life could flip on its head with just a few words. She had seen strange things before, but this was different, this was deeper. A man nearby was clutching a tattered newspaper that foretold doom. Headlines screamed of unseen forces and conspiracy theories that kept him awake at night. The very thought of those elements tugged at the back of Mira's mind. She leaned in closer, entranced as the screen glowed brighter, igniting her senses. Then it happened, laughter erupted from a group, cutting through the tension as a woman shrieked in horror. "No. Not what I think." The crowd gasped. A shimmering image appeared, revealing shadows that seemed almost human. It sent shivers down her spine. She caught a glimpse of something she couldn't unsee, a figure cloaked in darkness. The intermingling air of disbelief and intrigue left everyone entranced. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The pause that followed was electric, tense silence clawing at hearts. People exchanged nervous glances, feeling the weight of the moment. Was it real? As dread and excitement danced in their chests, another photograph flashed, this one a girl, lost and searching, with pleading eyes that seemed to reach right through the screen. What was she looking for? The crowd's collective breath hitched. Mira felt a knot tighten in her throat, a lump of anxiety. Something told her they were on the brink of something monumental. Just when she thought the world stood still, the footage flickered again, revealing a series of cryptic messages. "You must wake up before it's too late." It echoed like a siren's call, and everyone felt it, a fierce pull into the unknown. Sensing something big was coming, Mira wished she could dive into that screen, decode it all, and unveil the mystery lurking beneath. But what could possibly lie ahead? And who was the girl pleading for help? The question hung in the air like a heavy fog, and amidst her racing thoughts, she knew one thing for certain: everything was about to change. Mira's heart raced, pounding against her ribcage as the cryptic images pulsed with ominous life. She had to know more. The moment felt like being trapped in a rushing river, and she could either let it sweep her away or dive deeper into its depths. Her instinct screamed for action. The girl on the screen was begging for help. The urgency in her eyes was enough to ignite a fire under Mira's skin. The crowd began to disperse slightly, uncertainty creeping in as the static buzz of the city returned. Conversations turned frantic, voices overlapping, drifting between disbelief and fear. "Did you see that?" someone whispered. "What does it mean?" Mira turned to the man with the tattered newspaper. His face was ashen, and she could see the weight of dread etched into his features. "What do you think it was?" "The shadows, they looked like they were coming for us," he stuttered, his voice quivering. "I don't know," Mira replied, glancing back at the screen. "But I can't just ignore it. There must be a connection. It has to mean something." With renewed determination, she pushed through the remnants of the crowd, seeking answers. The whereabouts of that girl haunted her thoughts. Where was she? And why did the tension of the moment gnaw at her insides like a persistent itch? Mira rushed down the street, weaving her way through scattered groups of people still caught in the aftermath of the video. The air felt heavy, thick with energy and fear. She needed to find a quiet place, analyze what she had seen. Finding a nearby cafe, she slipped into a corner booth, heart still racing as she reflected on the image. Her fingers trembled as they traced the edge of the table, realization dawning on her she wasn't just drawn to the spectacle, she was compelled to act. Suddenly, a voice jolted her from her thoughts. "You saw it too, didn't you?" A tall figure approached, cloaked in the very shadows she'd seen on that screen. Mira's breath caught, anxiety flooding her veins. "You were at the plaza?" "Yes." "Wait, you saw the girl? Who is she?" Mira asked, gripping the table for support. The stranger, a woman with sharp features and piercing eyes, sat across from her. "Listen closely. I've been tracking the phenomenon. That girl, she's a part of something much bigger. We have to find her before they do." "Before who does?" Mira pressed, feeling her pulse quicken with each word. "I can't explain everything now, but it's about to unfold. The shadows are coming for us all. You have a part to play in this and time is running out." Mira's heart sank at the weight of the words. A part to play? She was nobody special, just a curious girl caught up in a world of chaos. "What do you mean, shadows?" The woman leaned closer, whispering, "They are not just myths. They feed on fear, and our society has become their feast." Mira's mind reeling, she could hardly process the implications. Panic coated her thoughts like a bitter shadow. What could she even do? A wave of uncertainty washed over her, but one undeniable truth emerged: this was bigger than her, bigger than anything she had ever encountered. The cafe door slammed open, and the bells jingled loudly, startling them both. A frantic figure stumbled in, eyes wide with terror. "They're coming. We have to get out now." Mira's thoughts spiraled. Who were they? She felt panic surge within her. What did she have to lose? Every fiber of her being screamed to take action. Before she could react, the sudden pounding of footsteps echoed outside. The air thickened, and she froze, heart in her throat, waiting for the unknown to burst into the room. Who was already hunting them? She realized she had no choice but to confront whatever lay ahead. This was just the beginning. The storm was brewing, and in that moment, the shadows whispered louder than ever. Myra's heart pounded against her chest as the frantic figure gasped for breath, the urgency of the moment pressing in on her like a vice. She could feel the tremors in the air, as if the very fabric of reality were fraying at the edges. Who could be coming for them? "Sit down," the woman with piercing eyes demanded, her tone leaving no room for argument. Mira's instincts kicked in again, and she did as told, glancing toward the door, half expecting to see shadows pouring in like ink. "We don't have much time," the woman continued, her voice almost a whisper but still holding power. "They'll know we're here soon. We need to stay hidden." The frantic figure, a young man with disheveled hair and panic etched across his face, took a seat beside Mira. "You don't understand. Not just anyone can see them. But you both saw her, didn't you? The girl in the video?" "Yes." Mira blurted. She needed answers, and perhaps this was the key. "Do you know her? Where is she?" He shook his head, terror flooding his eyes. "I don't know where she is, but I saw her too. I thought I was going crazy. That's why I came here. I hoped maybe someone could help." His voice trailed off, his courage nearly evaporating. Lifting her chin, the woman met their fearful gaze. "We can help her, but first, listen. If we don't act now, it will be too late." "What do you mean? What happens?" Mira clenched her fists, trying to hold on to her rapidly dwindling sanity. "The shadows. They thrive on fear, and the more people who panic, the stronger they become." The woman leaned in closer, intensifying the weight of her words. The girl is a beacon. She's caught in a cycle of despair that feeds them. We have to find her to break it. Mira's stomach twisted. How? How do we do this? There's a source, a place where the veil is thinnest. If we can get there before they do, we might save her. The door rattled, breaking the oppressive tension in the small cafe. Mira's heart sank as she glanced nervously toward the entrance. Heavy footsteps approached, stomping down the hallway. The woman held up a hand, signaling silence, and they all leaned in, hearts racing in unison. What do they look like? The young man whispered, his voice quavering in the quiet. Shadows. Forms that flicker and shift. They change, blending with darkness. But they're not alone, they travel in packs, drawn to fear like moths to a flame, the woman explained, her intensity almost magnetic. What if they find us first? Mira gasped, envisioning the chaos that could unfold. The trick is to stay calm. Fear only gives them power. Remember, we're here to help the girl. That has to be our focus, the woman replied, her voice steady. Suddenly, the cafe erupted in a cacophony of sound. The door burst open, and a figure cloaked in shadow spilled into the room, an unholy gust of darkness sweeping in behind them. Myra's breath hitched, the reality of danger hitting like a slap. The shadows, real, tangible, danced at the edges of their vision. Breathing shallowly, she sensed the fear bleeding through every pore. What do we do? Run! The woman shouted as more shadows formed to block the exits. In that moment, trapped between the encroaching darkness and the uncertainty of their fate, it hit Mira, she had to act. Was she brave enough? As she made her move, the shadows lunged for them, and all Mira could think was that she had to find the girl, had to unlock whatever part of her was meant to play in this dark game, but she had no idea what awaited her on the other side. What truths would she uncover, and would they be enough to save them all? Mira felt the air shift around her as shadows lunged, long and dark, their presence heavy and suffocating. She didn't have time to think, adrenaline propelled her forward. Follow me. She shouted, her voice firm against the chaos. The frantic young man scrambled to his feet, his eyes wide with terror, but the woman remained rooted to the spot, her intense gaze fixed on the opening door, calculating. There was something in her expression that fueled Mira's determination. If this woman knew how to fight back against these phantoms, she needed to move now. With a single powerful motion, the woman yanked Mira and the young man behind her, steering them toward the back of the cafe. The shadows flickered, pulsating as if inhaling their fear. Mira could feel the cold breath of dread at her back as they hurried down a narrow corridor. Down here. The woman urged, leading them into the staff area. Shelves lined with dusty coffee bags crowded the space, creating a dark maze. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Do you know where we're going? The young man asked, hushed and anxious. Yes. The cellar. There's a hidden way out, the woman replied, urgency thickening her voice. Stay close. Mira's heart raced as they dodged past overturned crates and scattered tools, but her focus was split. What's the girl's connection to all this? She asked breathlessly. Why does she matter? I'll explain later. The woman snapped, glancing back at Mira, a flicker of impatience creeping in her eyes. Right now, we need to survive. As they reached the cellar door, the atmosphere turned oppressive. The woman swung it open, revealing dark, narrow stairs descending into a cavernous gloom. Mira hesitated, the weight of fear pressing down on her. What's down there? Only what we need to save her, the woman declared with fierce resolve. She thrust a flashlight into Mira's hands, illuminating the murky steps ahead. Now. Though her instincts screamed for her to flee, Mira swallowed hard, steeling herself. She took the first step, the damp air wrapping around her like a cold shroud. The young man followed closely, his breath quickening, despair pooling in his wide eyes. The further they descended, the more the darkness seemed to swallow them whole. Mira's pulse thundered in her ears. What if the shadows follow us? She whispered, glancing back up towards the fleeting light above. They can only track you when you're afraid, the woman said, leading the way with unwavering determination. We need to be strong, remember. As they reached the bottom, the flashlight beam flickered on an ancient stone wall, adorned with strange symbols that pulsated faintly like embers. Mira's heart sank. What is this place? The source, the woman breathed, but her voice trembled ever so slightly, which sent a chill down Mira's spine. This is where we can breach the veil, but we must act quickly. Suddenly, the floor above them creaked ominously, and Mira's throat tightened as dread filled the air. Heavy footsteps pattered on the ground above, signaling the approach of more shadows. They're coming, the young man gasped, panic spilling from his eyes. Quick! We need to chant the incantation, the woman commanded, her steady facade cracking. Once we start, we'll draw them away. Mira took a deep breath, trying to focus. What do we say? Just trust me. The woman hissed, urgency fluttering in her voice. Now. And just as the whispering voices of shadows began to seep through the cracks above, the trio gathered around the dark stone, ready to chant whatever words might bridge the gap between despair and hope. Little did they know that this journey into the dark held secrets that would shake their very understanding of reality, but as the shadows surged and clawed, one burning question remained: what would they awaken in their desperate bid to save the girl? Mira's heart raced as the woman began to chant, her words tumbling out like an urgent prayer. They echoed off the stone walls, a desperate sound that pushed back against the encroaching darkness. The symbols on the wall glowed brighter, flickering with life, and Mira felt a strange warmth seep into her chest. Repeat after me. The woman ordered, her voice steadying. We summon the truth hidden in the veil, we call forth the light from the depths. Mira's mouth went dry, but she managed to force the words out, her voice shaky at first. The young man followed, his tone almost breaking as he joined in. Together, the three of them wove a tapestry of sound, their chants ricocheting against the fears threatening to devour them whole, but as they spoke, the shadows above grew louder. The whispers turned into a cacophony, scratching and clawing to break through. Mira glanced back, instinctively searching for a threat in the suffocating darkness. Panic surged anew. What if they were too late? Focus. Don't let them in. The woman snapped, her intensity honing Mira's attention. Trust the light. It's more powerful than you think. What came next was an unexpected jolt. The air shimmered, and a brilliant flash erupted from the symbols on the wall, casting the cellar in a blinding light. Mira shielded her eyes, her heart hammering, but there was a thrill there too, a rush of exhilaration that began to drown out her dread. Then, all at once, the ground trembled beneath them. The shadows recoiled, as if stung by the light. Mira felt her fear twist into something else, something fierce and alive. The woman's voice soared above, keep chanting. Don't stop. The illumination surrounded them, weaving through the shadows that had once threatened to consume them. For a moment, Mira believed they might actually succeed. The oppressive weight of the atmosphere lifted, and the terrifying darkness began to push back. But as the brightness illuminated the cellar, a terrifying figure emerged from the depths, a silhouette in stark contrast to the light. The woman faltered mid-chant, her face paling as recognition washed over her. No, it can't be. Mira's breath caught in her throat. What did she see? Who was this figure threatening their flickering hope? As it stepped into the light, the young man gasped. No! He shouted, stumbling backward, eyes wide with horror. It's her! The figure was a girl, barely more than a child, suspended in the space between light and shadow, her expression twisted in despair and fear. The resemblance was undeniable. Mira's heart ached. No! It can't be! What did we awaken? Mira gasped, the astonishing truth unraveling in front of her. Her memories, her pain. The woman breathed, stepping forward, her resolve shaping into something fierce. We need to reach her before she loses herself. The shadows pulsed again, growing more agitated, less willing to retreat now that their prize was so close. The girl's gaze became unfocused, and darkness swirled at her feet like hungry mist, beckoning her back into its clutches. Mira felt her heart breaking. We have to save her. But how? Chant from your souls. The woman commanded, urgency surging back into her voice. Call out the truth you believe. Make her remember who she is. Mira took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of courage inside her. We won't give up. We believe in you. The words flowed, desperation and hope merging into a powerful cry resonating off the walls, but as they intensified their chant, Mira could feel the shadows pressing in, their icy grasp ready to extinguish the last flicker of hope. The girl began to waver, her form flickering like a candle about to be snuffed out. Time was slipping away. Would they find a way to bring her back from the brink and confront the darkness that threatened to take them all? As the struggle continued, one searing question lingered in the air: could they awaken the light within her before it was too late? The shadows writhed like snakes, closing in on the girl as the brilliant light began to dim. Mira's heart raced, a frantic rhythm matching the chaos around her. She could feel every thrum of desperation in her chest. The woman pressed forward, her voice now a beacon, rising higher and richer. Remember. Remember the warmth of the sun. Remember the laughter of your friends. Mira joined in, pouring her spirit into the chant. You are not alone. You are loved. But the words felt feeble against the relentless darkness. The girl flickered, her form becoming less defined, the connection between them wavering like a thread pulled taut. Stay with us. Fight. The young man's voice trembled, yet urgency laced his tone. He repeated the woman's words, the energy in the room crackling. Mira could see the flickers in the shadows, ghostly hands reaching for the girl as though trying to drag her back into the abyss. But the little girl, her face so hauntingly familiar, kept gazing around in confusion, trapped in a nightmare she couldn't escape from. Mira's eyes filled with tears. It was like staring into a mirror of her own past, the anguish almost unbearable. Please, Mira whispered, her voice threatening to break. You are stronger than this. You were born to shine. The moment those words slipped out, the shadows recoiled, as if struck. The girl blinked, a flicker of recognition sparking in her expression. Her lips parted, and for a brief heartbeat, Mira thought she saw a flash of hope, a glimmer of the vibrant spirit she once possessed. Then a deafening roar erupted from the shadows. They surged violently, a collective fury determined to snuff out not just the light but the very essence of their fight. The cellar quaked as the weight of despair descended upon them, pressing down hard on Mira's chest. Chant. Don't stop. The woman shouted, her voice slicing through the chaos. Mira gritted her teeth, gathering every ounce of strength. You're part of us. We need you. Come back. The girl swayed once more, her dark hair lifting slightly, as if carried by an unseen wind. With each word, the light pulsed, fierce and blazing, battling against the encroaching shadows. The air thickened, and an electric charge hummed around them. And then, just when it seemed they were losing ground, a pulse of light burst forward from the girl. She clenched her fists, her face contorting as memories flooded back, a swirl of laughter, the embrace of a friend, sun-warmed afternoons. But along with the warmth, there was pain, deep, cutting pain that echoed in the cellar like a storm brewing. The girl gasped, tears streaming down her cheeks, unsure if she wanted to face the memories or retreat into the darkness. Mira felt a knot of fear in her stomach. Hold on to the love. She cried. You are more than your pain. The shadows hissed in disapproval, the air growing colder as they pushed against the brightness. A shriek erupted from the darkness, a terrible sound that seemed to shake the very foundations of the cellar. No, no. The woman's chant wavered. She looked back at Mira, fear etched across her features. We must not let it take her. Mira blinked, feeling the weight of the moment crash down. The girl's bright clarity began to fade, her image flickering with new urgency. Please, Mira reached out, feeling something shift within her. You have to choose. Choose to fight. The girl's eyes locked onto Mira's, a torrent of emotions swirling between them. It could go either way. The shadows were still there, circling like vultures, hungry for despair, but so was the light, vibrant and alive. Would the girl rise from the depths of her torment, or would she succumb to the darkness that beckoned her? As hope hung precariously in the balance, another chilling chill crept into the cellar, revealing the true power of the shadows. The question burned in the air: was it too late to save her, or could they still reach the light buried deep within? Mira felt time stretch, every second a heartbeat that reverberated in her bones. The shadows, now writhing with fierce intent, pressed closer to the girl, their cold fingers brushing against her ethereal form. The air tasted bitter as dread settled in her throat. She had to break through. Fight! She urged, desperation crawling into her voice. You're stronger than this darkness. As if hearing her plea, the girl's eyes widened, blinking rapidly. A flicker of strength returned, and for a moment, she stood taller, more defined, more vibrant. The shadows recoiled, hissing as the light pulsed stronger. Remember the laughter. The woman's voice rose, shaking yet unwavering. Feel the warmth of your heart. Mira grasped the moment, knowing this was their chance. Your laughter is a shield. Let it protect you. Channel it. But as the girl's memories swirled around her, they brought a tempest of emotions. A sudden scream cut through the oppressive air, echoing off the cellar walls, chilling every soul present. An unseen force, a surge of panic, swept through the group. No. The young man fell back, nearly losing his balance. His face was pale, a shadow of terror clouding his features. They're coming for her. Mira's heart sank. The shadows, emboldened by fear, lunged forward. Each dark figure seemed intent on snatching the girl away. The cold aura they emitted made the air heavy, suffocating. Don't let them in. Mira yelled, her voice raw. Stay connected. We are with you. Sweat beaded at her brow as she poured every last ounce of her soul into the words. The light before them quaked, fluctuating between despair and hope. With a voice that threatened to shatter under pressure, Mira pushed on. You are loved. We won't let you go. The shadows writhed violently, a tornado of darkness swirling, encasing them in a choking fog. The girl's expression shifted from hope to panic, the shadows whispering dark secrets, filling her ears with the poison of doubt. You'll always be alone, they seemed to say. No one can save you. But Mira saw it deep within those bright eyes, one spark still shone. A connection that yearned to be reignited. Fight back. She screamed, the words spilling from her lips like a desperate prayer, a final plea for strength. In that instant, the girl's small frame stiffened. Tears streamed, but they were no longer just sorrowful, they became a wellspring of defiance. She clutched her fists tighter, as the light shattered the shadows surrounding her. It erupted like fireworks, radiating warmth and bright colors that danced through the cellar. The shadows recoiled, shrieking, and for a moment, the girl stood in their midst, a beacon of resilience. Keep going. The woman urged, her voice now booming with newfound energy. Don't look away. You are not your pain. You are more. Yet, just when it seemed they might break free entirely, a spine-chilling silence enveloped them. The shadows hissed with an unearthly anger, retreating momentarily to regroup. Mira felt the temperature drop, frost creeping into her bones, fear wrapping around her heart. Then, from the depths of the shadows, a figure emerged, tall and twisted, cloaked in darkness, radiating malice. It seemed to absorb the very light they had fought so hard to maintain, an embodiment of the very despair they battled against. Mira staggered back, her voice faltering. What is that? The woman turned, wide-eyed terror mixing with fierce determination. We won't let it take her. We have to. Before she could finish, the chilling figure surged forward, reaching for the girl, a black tide ready to consume. It was a new level of darkness, one that threatened to swallow them whole. In that moment, hope teetered. Mira felt the pull of despair clawing at her. Could they withstand this new threat? Would the girl embrace her light, or would she be lost forever in the depths of darkness? As the figure's grotesque face twisted into a sinister grin, a single question echoed in Myra's mind: was this the end of their fight, or had they only just begun? The darkness swirled around them, a living entity pulsing with malevolence. Myra's heart raced, the weight of terror pressing down like a stone on her chest. The sight of that twisted figure, the embodiment of despair, was enough to ignite fear in the steeliest of souls. Its laughter, a low echo that reverberated through the cellar, chilled her to the core. "Stay strong," she shouted, desperately trying to keep the fear at bay. But in her mind, doubts gnawed at her. Could they really fend off this monstrous force? Would the girl, the beacon of hope, still be able to shine against such overwhelming darkness? The figure lunged forward, black tendrils extending like claws. The shadows writhed as they whipped across the air, snapping like a pack of wolves hungry for a kill. The girl's eyes widened, reflecting the purest fear, as if she could physically sense the malice that sought to consume her. "Fight it." Myra's voice sliced through the chaos. "Remember the love around you." The girl took a shuddering breath, and in that fleeting moment, something flickered within her. A familiar warmth began to emanate from her heart, pulsing like a distant drum. At first, it was faint, a soft glow that pushed against the encroaching darkness. But then, the light flared brighter, fueled by her memories. Laughter erupted in her mind, filling her soul with a strength she thought lost. "Channel it. Let it explode," Mira urged, feeling the heat of the girl's light mixing with her own growing desperation. They needed this spark to ignite a fire. The shadows recoiled momentarily, and with fierce resolve, the girl raised her hands. Glistening threads of light sprang forth, tearing through the choking fog of darkness. Mira almost believed they could win. But the figure paused, its grin widening, revealing rows of jagged teeth. It let out a roar that shook the very foundation of the cellar, an unholy sound that felt like millions of voices screaming in unison. The walls shuddered, dust raining down as panic rose amongst the group. "Don't let it break you," the woman cried out, rallying her voice against the storm. Each shout became a barrier, pushing back against the despair swirling so very close. "Focus on the light," Mira added, her heart racing. "It's not over." As though hearing their desperate words, the girl pushed herself harder. With each pulse of light, the oppressive weight of the shadows lessened, if only for a heartbeat. The laughter that had gone quiet filled the air, vibrant and explosive, intermingling with their chant. It was like a battle cry, infused with hope, yet, the figure, now enraged, lashed out wildly. The gust of darkness surged forward, daunting and overwhelming. The light dimmed, flickering as if a candle battling a gusty wind. Mira felt her resolve falter as despair wormed its way back in. She locked eyes with the girl, desperate to convey strength through the connection they forged. "You're not alone." Just then, the darkness released another hissing breath, thickening in the air, but in that moment, a glimmer of understanding sparked in the girl's eyes. With trembling hands, she began to weave the light around her, a glowing shield against the malevolence. Suddenly, a searing pain shot through Mira's chest. It was a bitter reminder of her own battles. She stumbled, clutching her heart, feeling the shadows dig deeper. What if it's all for nothing? She gasped, the thought echoing in her mind, yet alongside her doubt, a surge of defiance ignited. They wouldn't just stand back and let it consume them. As she steadied her breath, she knew they had one final chance to unite their strength. Together, she shouted, summoning the last reserves of hope. But just as the air crackled with communal strength, a deafening silence fell. The figure halted mid-strike, vaporous tendrils flickering out like dying embers. Mira's heart raced. Was this the beginning of their salvation or the calm before a much darker storm? As the shadows swelled, the next wave approached, insidious and vile. They had only moments to decide: could they cast the darkness away, or Would they succumb to its consuming grip? The silence hung heavy in the air, an oppressive blanket that felt almost tangible. Mira couldn't shake the chill creeping up her spine. It was as if the darkness itself was biding its time, gathering strength to unleash another onslaught. Heartbeats thudded in her ears, fast, frantic, uniform. There was power in their collective pulse, and yet, it felt insufficient against the looming terror that was the figure in front of them. Shadows swirled as if they reveled in their uncertainty, taunting them with glee. The girl, trembling but resolute, stretched her arms wider, saturating the space with her luminous warmth. I want to let it take me," she whispered, steeling herself. Mira felt the girl's resolve wash over her, filling her lungs with a surge of energy. The memories of laughter, of friendship, of love echoed in her mind, each image a vital fuel for this battle of extraordinary stakes. They had come too far to turn back now. With newfound determination, she shouted, "We are stronger together. Never doubt that." The words rang clear, cutting through the haze of despair. The group rallied, voices rising like a chorus, each note layered with courage. In that moment, the figure seemed to recoil, the shadows twisting in protest as it sensed the rising tide of hope. But then, it struck back ferociously, an undeniable wave of darkness crashing toward them with immense speed. Mira stood her ground, the girl beside her igniting fervent threads of light that intertwined like tendrils of a burning vine. The more the shadows advanced, the brighter their combined energies glowed, forming a barrier that pushed back against the imminent threat. But the figure, relentless, grew enraged, belting out howls that felt like knives slicing through the very fabric of their unity. "You think you can resist? You will perish in the end," it screeched, the echo of its chilling laughter ricocheting off the cold walls. Panic surged through Mira as doubt crept in again. Was their light truly powerful enough to fight the darkness? She dared not break her gaze from the girl. They needed to push past this moment, they had to be the light. "Remember your loved ones," Mira urged, her voice infused with intensity. "Focus on them. Let that love fill you." Suddenly, a blinding flash erupted from the girl's core, an explosion of warmth and brilliance that swept through the cellar like an unleashed storm. The shadows, caught off guard, writhed and twisted, struggling to regain control. It was a dazzling spectacle, a beacon cutting through the black, and then the figure staggered, momentarily blinded, its form scrambling, blurring at the edges. Hope ignited in Mira's chest. "We can do this," she shouted, every fiber of her being pushing back against her doubts, but the darkness shuddered and lunged, a desperate attempt to reclaim its hold. Before they could catch their breath, it lunged forward again, all wrath and fury, wrapping around the girl like a serpent. Mira's heart plunged. "No." She reached out but felt an overwhelming force tugging her back. In an instant, the girl, ensnared in darkness, cried out with desperation. "I can't hold it. It's too strong." Mira's breath caught in her throat, dread pooling in the pit of her stomach. Was this it? Was there truly no way to overcome the dark? But then she caught a glimpse of something flickering within the shadows, a tiny spark, faint but undeniable. It pulsed like a heartbeat, and at that moment, realization crashed over her. What if? She thought, gripping the edges of hope with trembling hands. What if the darkness can be turned against itself? Rallying her strength, Mira shouted once more, conviction in every word. "Focus on that light. We can destroy it from the inside out. Let your love rage against the darkness." As every eye turned toward her, an electric silence fell, the flickering spark igniting their collective will. Could they wield the shadows somehow, turning the dark to their advantage? Mira could only hope as the turmoil spiraled around them, but one thing was certain: the fight had only just begun. What unknown power lay hidden within the girl's heart, waiting to be unleashed? And would it be enough to turn the tide? Mira stood her ground, heart pounding wildly as uncertainty rippled through her. The darkness wrapped around the girl, a chilling serpent intent on siphoning away hope. But amid the shadows, that small flicker of light thrummed with potential, urging them to take action. Focus. Mira called out, desperation threading through her voice. If we channel all our love, all our belief, we can turn this darkness against itself. Everyone, gather your thoughts, remember why we fight. With a collective breath, the group steadied themselves. The girl's pale face shone intermittently between shadows and light, her brow furrowed in determination as she fought to hold on. Mira could feel the weight of expectation settling on her shoulders. This was at the moment they could shift the tide. Let us shape the light. The woman with piercing eyes cried out, her voice battling the chaos swirling around them. Breathe together. The chant grew louder, rhythmic like a heartbeat, and Mira joined in, feeling the energy build, a wave rising at their feet. In synchrony, they raised their hands, channeling memories of laughter, friendship, and courage. The cellar shimmered with energy, warmth fusing with their fear. The shadows writhed impatiently, as if aware of the shift occurring, pulling back yet surging forward with vile intention. The clashing energies danced, darkness against light. Hold on to your peace. Mira cried, her own voice threading through the chaos. Light your hearts. Together, we can fight. A brilliant pulse erupted from their unified energy, a surge that spread in radiant arcs, stretching toward the girl, a beacon of defiance thrumming in the air. Myra's heart raced as the overwhelming presence of darkness faltered once more, recoiling as though struck, but amid the rising brilliance, the cloaked figure howled, an anguished, thunderous roar that shook the very ground. It lashed out, tendrils converging in desperate desperation. You think love can conquer despair? It spat, an echo of venom swirling around them. You will all fall. Mira took a step back, doubt attempting to seep in, but she forced herself to fight it. We won't give up. We believe in her. She screamed, flames of hope igniting her resolve. We believe in each other. The girl's eyes flickered, a flash of understanding crossing her features. With a gasping breath, she found her voice, calling out to the darkness that clung to her. I won't let you take me. I am more than you. I am stronger. A brilliant light erupted, radiant enough to pull the darkness apart. Mira's pulse felt electric, invigorated by the girl's words. They surged forward, a torrent of luminescence spiraling toward the figure, the shadows swirling in protest, losing their grip, but as the light expanded, it pushed against the shadows, revealing something so unexpected, the truth the girl kept hidden within herself. Bursting forth, memories flooded into the air like a kaleidoscope of colors: childhood laughter, hugs from friends, sunny days filled with joy. Each moment a weapon against the shadows, each echo a reminder of who they were fighting for, who they were fighting together. No. The darkness shrieked, struggling to maintain its form, but it began to unravel, fraying at the edges like a twisted fabric. With renewed conviction, Mira reached out toward the shadows, willing each flicker of light within the girl to flourish. You can fight this. Remember your joy. The girl's voice soared, harmonizing with the others, shaking the very core of darkness. I am not alone. I am loved. With every proclamation, the shadows wriggled, their grip faltering as the girl's warmth enveloped the room. You can't have me. She shouted, and in that moment, she unleashed a wave of light that cascaded toward the figure, exploding in a radiant flourish that shredded the shadows apart, piece by piece. The impact was deafening, a shockwave rippling through the cellar as light surged forward and enveloped them all. Mira closed her eyes as the brilliance surged, feeling warmth wrap around her despite the chilling presence of despair that had threatened to swallow them, and then silence. The chaotic breath of wind exploded into peace. Opening her eyes, Mira blinked against the afterglow. They stood, together, in an empty cellar. The air was clear, heavy shadows banished, the girl now illuminated by a gentle light of her own. I can feel them gone, the girl murmured, bewildered yet glowing with warmth. Relief washed over Mira, nearly collapsing into a fit of laughter and tears. We did it. You did it. The woman with piercing eyes smiled, an awe-inspiring serenity glimmering in her own gaze. You found your strength, and in doing so, reclaimed yourself. Yes. The young man echoing Mira's words, joy encompassing him like sunlight. You are never alone. None of us are. As the reality of their victory settled, Mira reflected on the fight they had endured. Each of them had faced their personal shadows, their own doubts. And yet, here they stood alive, connected, stronger than before. She stepped forward, reaching out to the girl, radiant and filled with renewed spirit. Let us never forget what we did here. You are a part of this, Mira said softly, reverberating strength into her words. A momentary pause passed before the girl nodded, tears glimmering but now tinged with hope. I'm free, I can finally see the light. With the shadows banished and bonds formed anew, Mira felt the warmth thrumming in her chest, a reminder that their journey was just beginning. As they moved together through the remnants of their fight, each step forward reaffirmed the truth they had discovered: darkness may linger, but light always prevails when united by love. And with that, they walked away, ready to face whatever came next. Don't forget, if you want to be part of amazing moments like this and never miss out on future adventures, you need to subscribe now. Click that red button before it's too late. Smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm and spreads our message far and wide. Flood the comments below with your reactions, thoughts about the ending, and your exciting theories about what is to come next, and remember to instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring conclusion. This is the moment to show your support and strengthen this growing community. Don't wait even one more second.